Former President Barack Obama just brought the House down at a rally in Virginia ahead of the November 4th elections, where Democratic candidate Abigail Spanberger is running for that governorship in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Here's what former President Obama said. He said, "Don't get distracted by all the weirdo stuff that Donald Trump's doing. He wants to try to distract you." Here, play this clip.
And all the nonsense we see on the news every day, the over-the-top rhetoric, the fabricated conspiracies, the weird videos of a U.S. president with a crown on his head flying a fighter jet and dumping poop on protesting citizens. All of that is designed to distract you from the fact that your situation has not gotten better.
And then former President Obama talks about why he's trying to distract you, because he wants to keep you living in conditions that you don't deserve. He wants to keep you down. He wants to knock you out. Here, play this clip.
They do it so you won't notice that while they're helping the wealthiest, most powerful people in the country consolidate more wealth and more power, your bills are still going up. And you're waiting longer at airports because there aren't enough air traffic controllers. And the program helping your kid with special needs was just gutted. So that is what's happening. And the good news is there's something you can do about it. Right here. Right now, because you've got a candidate for governor who's got a track record of getting stuff done, somebody who sees you and has been with you and knows your struggles and will fight for you every single day. Virginia, it's time to point America in a better direction by electing Abigail Spanberger as your next governor.
Then former President Obama talks about how Donald Trump's focus is about remodeling the White House, destroying the East Wing. This is what he has to say. Here, play this clip.
Meanwhile, the government is shut down, and the Republicans who currently are in charge of Congress, they're not even pretending to solve the problem. They have not even been showing up to work. Not in session. Where are you? What are you doing? And as for the president, he has been focused on critical issues like paving over the Rose Garden so folks don't get mud on their shoes, and gold plating the Oval Office and building a $300 million ballroom. So Virginia, here's the good news. If you can't visit a doctor, don't worry. He will save you a dance. And if you don't get an invitation to the next White House shindig, you can always watch the festivities and all the beautiful people on Truth Social.
Next up, Obama talks about how when I think back a year ago, he said, there were some people who were saying that the election doesn't matter, but how could you be saying that right now? You all know the stakes. Here, play this clip.
Then we have to get out there and vote for it. When I think back to a year ago, I remember talking to some people, even some folks who were friends of mine, who would say, you know what, this election doesn't matter all that much. That whoever the next president ended up being, it wasn't going to matter to them. If nothing else, the last 9 months should have cured us of that idea. Because the stakes are now clear. We don't need to speculate about the dangers to our democracy. We don't need to wonder about whether vulnerable people are going to be hurt. Or ask ourselves how much more coarse and mean our culture can become. We've witnessed it. Elections do matter. And they matter for you. People in power may be counting on your citizens. They want you to think there's nothing you can do. Nothing to stop them. Because they know it, once that thought worms into your head, they've won. But if there's one thing history has taught us, it is the most important office in democracy is not president or even governor. It's the office of citizen. We all have more power than we think. We just have to use it. So if you believe in that better story of America, do not sit this one out. Vote for leaders like Abigail who believe it too. Leaders who care about your freedoms and will fight for your rights and who will go to work every day to try to make your life just a little bit better. And then get your friends and family members, your neighbors and co-workers to vote too. Because if we do that, not only will we elect Abigail Spanberger your next governor, you won't just put Virginia on the path to a brighter future. You will set a glorious example for the nation. Thank you, Norfolk. God bless you. God bless these United States of America.
More from Obama right here as he says, the story that I believe in Virginia is an America where there is equal protection, where we uplift each other, not punch each other down. Here, play this clip.
But from the very start, there was another story, born of this nation's true revolutionary spirit. A story that says we the people means what it says, that all of us are included, that we are not subjects, we are citizens, defined not by race or religion or gender or sexual orientation, but by our commitment to a common creed and a willingness to accept not just the privileges, but the responsibilities that come with that citizenship. That's what made the American experiment unique. That's what made us special. And through generations of struggle and sacrifice, through the faith of abolitionists and the struggle of suffragists, through a civil war and civil rights protests, through union organizing drives and government reforms and investment in public education, we moved closer to those founding ideals. And in the process, we inspired the world. And that's the story I believe in, Virginia. I believe in an America in which we all deserve equal protection under the law and nobody is above the law. I believe in an America where every child has a chance at a good education and anybody who's willing to work and find a job or start a business and make a decent living. An America where opportunity isn't just reserved for those who were born into privilege or happen to have the right connections. I believe in an America where we don't fear each other, but look out for each other. And if we want that story to continue, if we believe in that better story, we need leaders who believe in it too. We need leaders who will tell the truth and who will take responsibility and tackle hard problems and bring people together instead of tearing them apart. We need leaders who won't serve bosses in Washington or big corporate donors, but instead will serve the people who put them there. Virginia, we need leaders like Abigail Spanberger.
But Obama talks about how in America there are these competing stories. Let's play it.
But what I also tell people when they ask me about this, what I also try to remind them, is that America's always had competing stories about who we are and what this nation stands for. The first story says, we the people, just means some of us. That in order to qualify, you have to be the right color, or come from the right family, or worship in the right way, or have enough money. It says that even though we got rid of a king, there's still a caste system in America, a pecking order of who makes decisions and who obeys, who gets opportunity and who is obliged to serve. And it's a story that's policed by fear and force, that tries to convince people that for their group to win, another group has to lose. That if somebody doesn't look like you or think like you or practice religion exactly the same way you do, they must be a threat to your way of life, and they need to be put in their place. And that's how Donald Trump thinks about America. Make America great again by putting the people like him back in charge, even if they don't know what the hell they're doing. Now, but here's the thing. That story is not new. That's the oldest story in the book. It's not even uniquely American. For most of human history, that's the way society's worked. There was somebody on top and somebody on the bottom. There were lords and there were peasants. And for a long time, that story of caste and privilege and concentrated power, that was the law of the land here in America. If you looked like me, you were likely treated as property. If you were a woman or a white man who did not own property, you could not vote. For a long time, if you were an Irish or Italian immigrant, we're not hiring. If you're Jewish or Asian, don't bother applying to our school. If you were Native American, you weren't even treated as an American, even though you were here. But from the very start, there was another story, born of this nation's true revolutionary spirit. A story that says we the people means what it says, that all of us are included, that we are not subjects, we are citizens, defined not by race or religion or gender or sexual orientation, but by our commitment to a common creed and a willingness to accept not just the privileges, but the responsibilities that come with that citizenship. That's what made the American experiment unique. That's what made us special.
And he talks about how the MAGA Republicans never miss a chance to scapegoat minorities and DEI for every problem. It's an excuse. There's zero responsibility, zero accountability from these MAGAs. It's just blame and whining. Here, play this clip.
I mean, they've devoted enormous energy in trying to entrench themselves in power and punishing their enemies and enriching their friends and silencing their critics. They put on a big show of deporting people and targeting transgender folks. They never miss a chance to scapegoat minorities and DEI for every problem under the sun. You got a flat tire? DEI. Huh. Wife mad at you? DEI. What they have not devoted energy to is helping you. They have not put forward serious proposals to lower housing costs or make groceries more affordable. They haven't improved our schools. They haven't made healthcare more accessible. They haven't shortened your commute or prepared young people for the future where AI might take their job.
It's a powerful moment in former President Obama's speech where he talks about how he worries about the growing concentration of economic power in this oligarchy. Here, play this clip.
I worry about the growing concentration of economic power in this country, with just a handful of mega billionaires and companies controlling what we see and what we hear. And I worry about how much that economic power distorts the political process. I worry about how readily not just business leaders, but others with influence in law firms and universities have been willing to bend the knee to this president's autocratic impulses to avoid retribution or protect profits or simply to avoid controversy. And I worry sometimes how we've come to accept this as normal.
And he says that he's worried about the way that Republicans in Congress have thrown away their role as a co-equal branch. Here, play this clip.
You know, a lot of people have asked me lately whether I'm surprised by the direction the country's taken. And even though I am the hope and change guy, I try to be honest with them. So I say, yes, there are things I am worried about. I am worried about how quickly basic democratic rules and norms have been weakened. I'm worried about how willing Republicans in Congress have been to surrender their role as members of a co-equal branch of government, refusing to buck the president even when they know he's out of line. Even when a lot of them will privately admit that power is being abused in ways that will hurt their constituents and hurt the country. I worry about a Supreme Court that, so far at least, has shown no willingness to check this administration's excesses, even when those actions break legal precedent and seem to defy the bedrock principle that no one is above the law.
Then Obama talks about how when someone asks him about all the federal workers fired by the administration, given how important it is to Virginia, how the opponent of Abigail Spanberger, how Winsome Earl Sears says she doesn't care about the people who lost their jobs. She goes, that's just part of life. Get over it. Here, play this clip.
When someone asked her, and I'm just following this from a distance, when someone asked her apparently about all the federal workers fired by this administration, given how important that is to Virginia, apparently Abigail's opponent said she wanted to talk about real issues. Didn't understand why these job cuts are, quote, a huge thing. Now, I don't know about you, but seeing your neighbors and your friends, your customers, maybe some of your family members suddenly out of work, even though they've dedicated their lives to serving people, having trouble making their mortgage. Maybe it's just me. Seems like a pretty big thing to me. Pretty huge. And I'd want a governor to be paying attention to it. Abigail's opponent does seem to care a lot about what Trump and his cronies are doing. And she's praised the Republican tax law that would raise the cost of health care and housing and energy here in Virginia. She supported bills that would strip funding from Virginia public schools. She says she's morally opposed to protecting reproductive rights, says she will do everything in her power to cut off access to abortion. Virginia, you don't need a governor who puts party and ideology ahead of the people she was elected to serve. You deserve a governor who will think for herself and work for you A governor who will create jobs and not cut them, and who will lower costs instead of raising them, and who will bring people together instead of dividing them, and who will do what's right for the people of Virginia, no matter what anybody in Washington thinks. You deserve a governor like Abigail Spanberger.
More from former President Obama about how you have economists getting fired for accurately reporting on the state of the economy. Let's play this clip.
And Lord knows we need that light. We need that inspiration. Because let's face it, our country and our politics are in a pretty dark place right now. It's hard to know where to start. Because every day, this White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and recklessness and mean-spiritedness and just plain craziness. We got a president who thinks it's okay to use the Justice Department to go after his political opponents. Hey, wait, don't boo. Vote. They don't hear boos, they hear votes. So we've got a president who replaces career prosecutors with loyalists who will do what he wants, and now he's telling them what he wants is for them to hand over millions of taxpayer dollars that he had to pay in expenses for previously violating the law. We've got a commander-in-chief who fires decorated officers because he thinks they might be more loyal to the Constitution than they are to him. He's deploying the National Guard in American cities, claiming to stop crime waves that don't actually exist. We've got masked ICE agents pulling up in unmarked vans and grabbing people, including U.S. citizens, off the streets on the suspicion that they don't look like real Americans. We've got an HHS secretary who opposes proven science and promotes quack medicine. A top White House aide who calls Democrats, the whole party, domestic extremists. We got some poor labor economist who got fired for accurately reporting bad jobs numbers that the president didn't like. I mean, it's like every day is Halloween. Except it's all tricks and no treats.
And then Obama says, look, it's not as if we didn't see this coming. He said, you can go back and run the tape. I tried to warn everybody about this, and in many ways, I get it. It's probably worse than even I expected, but we can't get complacent. We have to realize that these threats are real, and 9 months later, here we are. Have we gotten better off, or are we much worse off? This country is clearly much worse off. Here's what Obama says. Let's play this clip.
And here's the thing. It's not as if we didn't see some of this coming. I will admit it's worse than even I expected, but I did warn y'all. I did. You can run the tape. And by the way, he warned you too, because he said what he was going to do. But the fact is, there were plenty of people who voted for Trump and the Republicans anyway. And it wasn't because they wanted to give up the right to free speech or see our public health systems torn down, but because they were understandably frustrated with inflation and gas prices and the difficulty of affording a home and worries about their children's future. And so they were willing to take a chance. Now, 9 months later, you got to ask yourself, has any of that gotten better? Is the economy working better for you? Because it sure has gotten better for Trump and his family. You know, since he's been in office, the whole crypto business and other ventures have made hundreds of millions of dollars, including from foreign nationals and rich folks investing because they want to stay in the president's good graces. The economy has been really good for some of Trump's billionaire pals and for finance bros and well-connected corporations who've seen their tax bills go down and don't have to worry about all these pesky regulators anymore. But for ordinary families, costs haven't gone down. They've gone up, partly thanks to this shambolic tariff policy. Young people trying to get a start in life are having a tougher time than ever finding a job. Entry-level hiring is down 16% from last year. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees, including a lot of people here in Virginia, have lost their jobs to pay for those billionaire tax cuts. We're talking about people who have dedicated their lives to public service, who make the country work. Healthcare premiums for millions of people are about to double or even triple next year.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Powerful speech by former President Obama. Let's get to 6 million subscribers here.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.